Ryan Warsofsky has logged in. The head coach of the San Jose Sharks joins us now on Frankly Hockey. 38 years old. He was born 2.5 months after Sidney Crosby in 1987, Marshfield, Massachusetts, former Cape Cod Bluefin legend. There he is. And Ryan, my first question to you is you were a defenseman in college. I'm just curious, do you still see the game and feel it as a defenseman, or as you've coached now for 10 years, do you lose that feel and become more of like a hockey polymath and you're just you think about everything?
Good question. I think when I first started, I probably thought more of it as a defenseman and the way the game, the way I saw it, and especially as an assistant coach, coached a lot. Both times I've been an assistant coach, I was coaching defense, and got a good feel from that. And then you kind of evolve as a coach, and you start seeing the game in a different way, and seeing it, how forwards need to develop as well as defensemen, and what they need to work on and improve on, and how every player is a little bit different and bring different things to the table. So I think I've evolved in that sense of the way I've seen the game.
Ryan, so great to talk to you again. Speaking of evolution, let's talk about the evolution that your team has had year over year. I watched your club last year, and as you struggled, I looked at them and I said, I don't know that I've ever seen a team in this place in the standings have as much fun as your group had last year together. As that's carried over and transitioned into a totally different team that's in the playoff hunt this year, what were your thoughts heading into the season? Were you concerned at all about them raising their level and getting to that place together?
No, not really. I mean, we had a lot of conversations through the end of the last season and through the summer with the guys that were coming back. And then Mike does a really good job of adding some veteran players, Klingberg, Orlov, Gaudette. Obviously we re-signed Wenny, a few weeks back. So we've added some personnel to kind of build around our youth. And I think that's been a big step in the direction that we're going. And, I think the big thing is with our younger players, they're skilled and they can make plays and they can score, but they're ultra competitive and they want to win. They want to be the solution to get the Sharks going in the right direction. And that really, started, through the summer in our conversations, and we didn't have the greatest start, but we stuck with it. And you're seeing now we're taking steps in the right direction. Is it a perfect, game every night? No. Is there a lot for us to continue to work on? For sure. But we've definitely taken, some strides in the right direction here, really probably in the last 6 weeks, and where we need to play and how we need to play to have success in this league. It's a hard league. It's a hard league to win in. We probably learned a lesson last night against Tampa of you have to bring it every night, and that's the challenge of the National Hockey League. And for young players, you see it around the league. So we'll keep pushing it and keep challenging our guys and growing this thing in the right direction.
What's the deal with Kiefer Sherwood? When do you expect him to suit up?
Yeah, well, he's actually in the facility today, and he's getting looked at by our doctors. So we'll have a good feel for that. Hopefully this afternoon. But we don't think he's too far away. We're excited to add him. Obviously seen him quite a bit in Vancouver. Saw him coach against him in the American League. Ultra competitive, can skate, can shoot. We're excited to add him to our group.
What does Kiefer Sherwood add to your group? A bit of a different element.
Yeah, I think he brings. It's funny. I heard Rick Bowness talk about some nasty, and you need that in the National Hockey League. We're seeing that with the top teams. They got the nasty and the jam and the compete, and I think that's what Kiefer will bring to our group. I think his pace, the way he plays with pace in his game. We think he's a guy potentially can play with Mac and keep up and play with that pace and that intensity and win pucks and being our top nine and let's see let him kind of tell us where he fits and what role he plays in. But we're super excited to add him.
So yeah, a long flight, late night flight last night from Tampa. Then you have the Rangers come into town. Then you get to go to Canada for 3 straight games. I mean, what's worse travel, San Jose Sharks or the ECHL on a bus?
The ECHL is a lot worse, I can tell you that. Yeah. Long bus rides from Kalamazoo to Charleston is about 24 hours, and that brings back a lot of memories. But I think everyone's dealing with the schedule challenges that we're having this year with the Olympics, and there's no excuses, and we got to go through it and take it day by day. And I think our group's been really good to just kind of focus on where our feet are, and we'll continue to push that.
Ryan, we made it 5 minutes and we didn't ask you about Macklin Celebrini and the year that
New
he's
record.
had. Yep. How does he get from elite player to superstar? Like, how did he make that jump? Maybe the hardest jump to make in this league. What enabled him to do it in such a short period of time?
Well, I think the way he takes care of himself. This past summer, you could tell he put in some work, and he's in great shape. But he could tell he's really grown into his body. And I know it's funny to say that as a 19-year-old kid, but he worked extremely hard this summer on his conditioning, and taking care of his body. You could tell, when I first met him when he got into San Jose early in training camp. He was on a mission, and he was on a mission to be great, and he's on a mission to help drag our team into the fight every night. Obviously, the Team Canada carrot was in front of him as well, and I think that's motivation. So, he's got an extreme drive about himself to be great, and we're seeing that on a nightly basis. And he's a special kid. Just the way his character is through the roof. He's a great human being first and foremost. He wants to be coached. He wants to get better. He wants to find ways, he continue to improve his game. And a lot of that is without the puck and defending. And I think that's, something that our guys kind of gravitate towards and see. And that's really helped our group now starting to win some hockey games.
10 for 13 also last night in the faceoff dot, which is amazing for a teenager. Most teenagers do not have that strength or commitment or focus to do through 10 of 13 on the dot. I'm curious, Ryan, what was your average day like as a kid? Summer and winter, growing up in the South Shore. What was that? What was Ryan Warsofsky? What was he doing most of the time?
Summer was a lot of street hockey with my brothers. I have 3 brothers, so it was a lot of street hockey. In the winters, it was a lot of pond hockey. So a lot of hockey growing up, a lot of watching hockey, and kind of was always a student of the game. Growing up in the South Shore with Tony Monty, Kachuk, Mike Sullivan, people from the South Shore of. I kind of just followed, and being a big fan of BU. Obviously, my brother goes there. Mike, so there's a lot of connections with Boston University, and season tickets since 1990 with my parents, and so I loved. I'll never forget on Friday going into Walter Brown Arena, smelling the popcorn. It was a distinct smell of Walter Brown Arena that I remember till I die, of just what that feeling was going in there and watching Mike Greer, Tom Pody, Chris Drury. I kind of remember all those teams and the players that have gone through there. And, I was very fortunate to grow up in that area and grew up with a great family and parents that kind of enabled me to do those things and kind of live my childhood dream. And then, now here I am in the National Hockey League that sometimes I got to pinch myself, because I remember when I was in school going to watch Mike Sullivan at, coaching the Boston Bruins and watching morning skates, and him and I arguing over some concepts, and now here I am coaching against him, in a few days, and I'm very, very humbled and grateful to be in this position.
So, not your first time coaching against Mike Sullivan, but take us through what will it be like the night before? I'm sure you'll get together for dinner, but what is the conversation like at that table?
Yeah, we chat and we talk, a lot throughout the season and through the summer. And Sully's been awesome for me in my career. Such a big mentor. Golf with him and talk to him about, a lot of times he was trying to talk me out of coaching and of climbing the ladder just because of what he's gone through. But, a lot of it is just talking about the challenges we have day to day and getting your teams to play the right way. And maybe it's conversations. I've talked to him a lot about when he coached Sid and when he coached Phil Kessel and Letang and the whole crew in Pittsburgh and the challenges they had. So, and now he's got a very prominent job and trying to turn the New York Rangers around. So, again, I am very thankful to have that relationship with Sully, and he's been so important for me in my career.
How do you balance being an NHL head coach and a husband and father?
That is my biggest challenge. It's tough. It is, you don't really see your family in a lot. I think I've brought my son to school twice, and today was the second time all year. And, I got a great supportive wife back home that has been with me since the ACHL and knows the grind that you go through as a coach. And I got two great kids, and I think when I didn't have kids, the losing would take a toll on me. Now that I have kids, I can kind of escape it a little bit. When I woke up this morning with my kids at 6:30, and they're sitting there with a big smile on their face, it makes the the loss last night a little bit easier, to be honest with you. But it's a challenge, and now that my kids are getting a little bit older, they kind of understand that dad's going away for a little bit and you miss some things. It's tough, and thankful for FaceTime and Live Barn where I can watch his games. But certainly a challenge. It's something that I talk to a lot of coaches around the National Hockey League about. Balancing that, that work life, family balance is important, and you need to. We forget sometimes it is just a game, and I get it's a business and it's passion and a lot goes into it, and people put a lot into it, but it is just a game, and you just look at the man that we lost to the Michigan State, just a couple of days ago. Your heart breaks for that family and those kids. So you got to take everything in a grain of salt and have a feel for that.
So we asked you about the Sully coaching tree, but wanted to ask you on our way out here just about the South Carolina Stingrays connection and the coaches that have come from that tree as well. Spencer Carberry, Jared Bednar, and how they've helped you on your journey as well.
Yeah, I mean, Carbs worked with him for 3 years. Does a great job, obviously, in Washington, and we see it on a nightly basis. But really kind of molded me into the coach I am today. The way we saw the game was very similar. The way we communicate was similar. The way we pushed and challenged our players, the way I saw him communicate with players really helped me. It's like I earned a doctorate, working with him for 3 years. Jared Bednar, again, just a super guy, easy to talk to, easy to ask questions. And, it's always nice to have people that you can reach out. And I think for young coaches, and I say this a lot, you have to really, I remember asking Carbs at the end of the year, is there anything I can do better? And he said, the one thing that I thought you did a really good job of is you asked a lot of questions. And when I was learning, I asked probably 100 questions a day. I kept a journal of things that happened throughout that day. And you go back and you look at it and you learn from it. But really take in to people that, are trying to help you along the way and listen to them. And there's a difference between hearing someone and listening to someone and taking it all in and learning from it. So I've been very fortunate to have Sully, Mike Vellucci, Spencer Carberry, Bedsy there, and David Quinn even was super helpful for me to get my foot in the door in the National Hockey League. So again, I've been very fortunate not just to work for great coaches, but great people.
Have you gotten that Nantucket or Cape Cod summer place yet with that NHL money?
Yeah, I live in a little small town and right outside of Cape Cod and right on the border there. So I don't deal with the Cape Cod traffic, but
perfect.
We live down there in the off season, and it's a great little quiet spot.
That's awesome. Well, I live in Plymouth, Manomet, so maybe we'll have to meet sometime, have a coffee.
I'm in Mattapoisett, not far.
Love it. Well, yeah. What's that? Well, let's go get us on the Katansa Club, or you got more pull than I do. All right. Well, if I get on, I'll invite you. If you get on, you invite me.
I'm at the Bay Club. We play with Jimmy Craig.
Oh, kick save and a beauty. Awesome. Well, Ryan, great guest. Thanks so much. I know it's a long flight. You're up early. The kids are jumping on your chest. Hey, Dad, you've had an hour nap. Now be a dad. That's difficult. Enjoy the couple of days off, and good luck the rest of the way. Really appreciate it,
guys. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Great dude from a great hockey family. The Warsofskys. That's a legendary family, Frank.
Amazing guest. Just a couple things that he said. I was first that he kept a journal and was asking 100 questions a day. Amazing. And a great tip for everyone. But he said there's a difference between hearing and listening. And I thought that was huge. It doesn't matter what you do, what industry you're in, student, coach, player, whatever, you can do it. And man, really powerful stuff.
Yeah, I think journaling's so important for maybe some of our younger viewers to do these days, because this just popped in my head. I used to write letters to my friends. This is before the phone and things in the in the 80s and early 90s. We'd write letters, really thoughtful, would talk about what's going on. And that really was journaling, right? You're journaling to your friend. But because the person isn't there, you can maybe even be more brave or more open than you would be if you're talking to them in person, right? So we were kind of journaling. Now, the kids obviously don't do too. They text, but I think they don't really. They're not in deep thought. I think a lot about their thoughts, about their life, about where they're going. And I treasure those a couple pen pals I had. Some buddies would never write a letter, but a couple of my buddies, we did it, and it was really cool. To this day, these are vivid. I can see some of them. When that would arrive in the mail, I'd be so excited to hear from my friend Ray. Can't wait to hear about his thoughts, his crazy brain, the humor, the fun, and journal, kids, like Ryan Warsofsky. That's our lesson of the day.